Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Rama, streaming live from Casa Tehuatan in a beautiful day. Actually, today is a beautiful day here. Sun, finally. We had, I think, 3 days of cloudy and rainy uh, weather, which is the first of this wet season that is starting right now, a few days ago. Beautiful. I feel, obviously, you can't feel it, but I feel that the slow breeze coming in my back, full of moisture and humidity. Well, I'm grateful to be here to share with you again, as we said, once a month, sharing some of the vision, of the inspiration of the Andean way. Today, with a very, uh, in my perspective, this is a very personal subject, the garden. If someone asks me, what are you doing in your, what's your profession? I would say, without any doubt, I'm a gardener. I'm starting gardening since I have memories. I started this way, the Andean way, or the spiritual way, or the human way. It's not just Andean, it's just human exploration when I was 15 in, in a vegetable garden that I started after a party in a friend's house. Uh, and from that moment, I've been digging dirt, planting seeds, looking after plants, trying to understand the relationship between all the elements in a garden, and nourishing, especially nourishing myself, nourishing people I bring to the garden, nourishing my daughters. I mean, the garden is everything for me. Actually, when I had the chance to choose a university career, a professional career, uh, I went to university to try to get not a certificate or even uh, the degree, but I went there to try to find some more knowledge or experience, and I didn't find it. Actually, I finished my degree in agricultural engineer, but I saw a relationship that I didn't meant to have. I didn't want, and actually, I it helped me to not do what they say to do. I mean, having the land as, you can say, slave, or land as a machine, or industry to make things, to make money, to improve your income, uh, productivity, efficiency, and all the words that are related to neoliberalism and capitalism. And I don't have any troubles related to people who are making their lives with the land. But the relationship with the land, that's what I'm worried, and that's why I'm here today with you. In all my life, the land was close to my house. Every time I found some piece of land to put my hands on. When I was in Argentina, I had my own land, my family's land. When I went to Spain, I lived in an apartment, but in front of the apartment, there was a beautiful mountain in Barcelona, Montjuic. I had a little patch of plants and vegetable garden and garden and flower garden. When I went to England, I found this beautiful and sometimes secret place called allotments, and I fall in love with it. Uh, I don't know if someone from the UK is listening to us right now, but when I got there, I was trying to find some place to plant, and I realized that it was this government place that gives you almost for free the chance to plant your own vegetables and plant your own flowers wherever you want to plant it. And I started a master course in environmental management in Sheffield, northern England. Beautiful times, really really interesting times. I found that English people are beautiful people, but this relationship with the allotments was so good. I pushed my friends to go to the allotments. We uh, how to say that, renew the relationship with this almost lost site outside of Sheffield. So we brought new, fresh blood to the allotments, and finally, my thesis in the master course was related to that, to study on the allotment. So it gave me a lot of ideas and experience and very good moments, like planting, sharing, um, getting to know people of all ages. It was so beautiful. The garden is some kind of stage of the idea, the metaphor of the garden is a stage of encounter with different actors, people, the weather, the mystery of the soil, the plants that are trying to grow with each other, and uh, the insects, the birds, the wind, the sun and its changes. The garden is part of our poetry as human beings. Obviously, you know that the main religions, I mean, Christianity, the Jewish tradition, Islam, they all have this kind of idea of a garden, a perfect garden, the Eden. This metaphor, or I mean, for me, it's a metaphor. For other people, it's something that happened. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a mythical place where everything was perfect. Obviously, you know that some patriarchal ideas brought that unbalance. So a woman brought some kind of treason to lose that balance, and as any good story actually brought some kind of transformation. But not just Eden as a garden, it's in our culture. Babylon gardens, and there's a beautiful mythological image here from Brazil. The Guarani, the Tupi Guarani tribe that lives spread around Brazil. They have this beautiful metaphor of a garden that they will get if they walk enough, if they find, if they give the if they make the rituals, in if they connect with the spirits, they will get to this promised land called Ivi Marae. Ivi Marae, which is the land without bad, land without bad. Uh, but in all our cultures, we have this kind of idea of utopia, something that is related to the conversation we had the last month. Like the apocalypse is bringing something new and recovering the balance with this garden. I mean, it could be a garden. If you try to imagine heaven as the Christianity brings from childhood. What's heaven? This kind of garden where everyone are just laying down, eating whatever they want, and just having a good time. Well, that idea is intertwined in the idea of the garden, actually, our gardens. In the Andes, they have this mythical garden called Paititi. Paititi is this mythological place in the forest, in the rainforest, where Inkari and Kolyari, which are a couple of masculine and feminine energy that will bring back, in some kind of future, will bring back harmony to the people in this planet. The idea of a messianic or prophetic garden is coming back from that. Again, in our cultures, especially from the 60s and 70s, the idea of gardening, planting, coming back to the countryside, uh, coming back to the nature. For instance, I'm just bringing in my memory the Thoreau book, Walden. Beautiful experience from an aristocratic guy going to the forest and trying to understand the dynamics, trying to understand the healing, trying to understand the complexity of living from the land. I mean, three, maybe four generations back, our ancestors, they were risking everything when they planted their seeds, when they looked after the livestock. Everything was depending on how sensitive they could were to understand this complex dynamic between elements, to allow these plants to grow, these animals to thrive, and allow your children to grow from that. This is an art. That's why we have to be so grateful for the peasants, the people from the countryside, the people who are bringing food, allowing us to eat every day. We always say our prayers, uh, being grateful for them. But the garden is something more than that, not just an image or a metaphor. Lately, I've been researching. I didn't know that until maybe 1 2 years. There's therapy called orthotherapy, like horticultural therapy. That's the proper name. Some kind of affective experience that allows trained professionals to bring people with some kind of difficulties, emotional difficulties, to uh, not just work, but spend time, just contemplate and work and play, and having this sometimes passive exposure to nature, something that allows them to understand what is going on inside through the connection with some kind of harmonical uh, harmonic outside. The same thing with this forest bath or immersion that the Japanese brought, this idea of the Japanese that brought from the 80s, this Shinrin Yoku, I think. Shinrin Yoku, I think. It's an immersion coming into the forest and just staying there, being exposed to smells, the colors, the changes of shadows, and walk or do nothing, just being exposed, immersed in nature. All those experiences impact deeply in ourselves, especially as we are children of this machinery of the contemporary postmodern world, where we are just running in this rat race, as I'm remembering Bob Marley, rat race, trying to get as much money as we can, trying to be more effective, more productive, more winner, more positive. When we go to the land, we need to wait. We need to slow down if we want to immerse in this environment. We have to be open to the experience. There's a beautiful image in the Andean traditions. Actually, it's a role in the countryside. The farmers design a person, could be a woman or a man, who will be the arariwa. Arariwa. I'm gonna write it here. Arariwa. 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 It's the role of someone who is taking this role for a year, who will be in charge of understanding the language of the landscape and determine the moment of planting, the moment of um, cutting the trees, the moment of harvesting, the moment of putting the fertilizers in the land. He or she is talking to the landscape. Arariwa is different to an engineer, for example. An agricultural engineer could have that the same the same role, but it's completely different because an Arariwa, it's a guardian. It's a guardian of the communication, the dialogue with the land. The idea of talking to the land, the idea of talking with the landscape and trying to understand what the landscape wants from us is very intriguing, at least. In our culture, we are just going into the landscape and trying to control, trying to impose our will with the power of our tools, with the mm, powerful force of chemicals and machinery. We are trying to control the land. We want to break the land. That's the idea of this domain in culture. Well, an Arariwa is bringing a dialectic relationship with the land, So the land, through the spirits, will bring some kind of communication, so we will understand what the lands want from us. And as we create this conversation, we're gonna bring balance not just for me, but we're gonna bring balance to everyone, to the Ailu. The Ailu, not just people. Ailu means community, not just people, but sometimes birds, sometimes the Arariwa is gonna take care of everyone, of everything, the plants, the birds. I heard stories of the Arariwa looking after the clouds. They could take decisions related to even the weather. So they do some strange things for us, as making offerings to the spirits, to be grateful, or for asking for some kind of bliss. Sometimes they allow insects to eat some part of the crops, because they had this message from spirits. A relationship that could sound irrational, but I like to think about a relationship with time and space completely different. You know that I say many times here, but I don't mind to repeat it. When maybe you know this name, Pachamama, right? This bit of Pachamama, Pacha, is related to time and space. It's completely related to duality. So Pachamama is the landscape, Pachamama is the existence, and Pachamama is the force of space and time together. So, what happens when we go to understand the relationship with the landscape, with our garden, with our vegetable garden? I'm not talking about being a farmer, but just going outside of your house, in your little garden or your balcony, wherever you have some kind of beans growing. You have to relate to a common space and time. If you're in your own life, you can accelerate your time, your own time. You can control your space. You are just yourself. But when you go to share with other beings, you have to wait. You have to share the space and time. You have to slow down. If you put a seed, it will take as much days as it needs to sprout, to grow, to flourish, and to fructify. The other day we were planting tomato seeds with my daughter, and she said, "Well, and what? How much do we have to wait?" And I said, "Well, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 days." And she said, "So it's too much." Well, that's the time. When we go to the garden, we need to slow down, because not because we choose, because it is like that. It's another quality of time, especially time. When I already said it just now, in these societies where we are running too much, the levels of cortisol, the hormone of the stress hormone, it's it's so high that we can't even think on going to the garden and waste time. Well, in the garden, we waste time, we play as children. There's a beautiful word in Quechua. It's called pucllay. Pucllay literally means game or to play, but not just as a verb or as a noun. It's a state. It's where the people in the carnival, I think in English, expand themselves and play for 3 for 4 days, and allows themselves to celebrate life. But Pukley is a, it's an eternal game. Every time we go for an offering, we play a Pukley. Every time we walk to the other neighborhood is Puklay. Puklay is the essence of life. We are in a game, and that's guiding people in the Andes. As I said, the garden bring us to a different quality of time. Essentially, the calendar in the Andes is a agricultural calendar. It starts the 21st of June, 21st of June, which is the solstice, the winter solstice. And in that time, the day is the shortest, and they make these offerings and rituals to bring back the light and the warmth of the sun. From that moment, the sun is going to grow as a child, growing. The second celebration is the 21st of September, which is the equinox, the spring equinox. It's called Koya Jaime, which is a celebration of cleansing and preparation for the the cultivation season. The third celebration is called Kapahraimi, which is the main celebration, which is a celebration that we are grateful to the sun, and we are asking Pachamama to come back and give us the blessing of the food and the nourishment. And the main fourth celebration is called Paukar Raimi, which is the 21st of March, where we celebrate, this is Carnival, celebrate the harvest. We celebrate the abundance. We celebrate that we are children that were care of. Pachamama and Taita Inti, the mother and the father, looked after us all the years. So we are so happy for that. That kind of relationship bring us cycles. That's the main connection when we go outside of our room. In our houses, we control light, we control temperature, we control comfort, we control everything. But when we come out, we are exposed to the relationship with everything, with every being around. So the cycles are like big wheels of complex situations that start and end in some kind of eternal repetition. That's one of the main qualities of gardening. In this repetitive uh, work and repetitive patterns around us, they bring us some kind of stability, some kind of structure, some kind of feeling identified in a place, in a time. So When we go to the garden, we are in contact to all the kingdoms, vegetable kingdom, plant kingdom, obviously. We start to understand the dynamics of plants in different strategies to thrive, to live each other, to uh, rapidly grow, flower, and fructify, or hold on as a tree, holding on through the years, holding holding this beautiful structure of which is a tree. And we connect with the animal kingdom, obviously. We relate with other people who share with us the garden. We relate with bugs, insects, and we will understand that some insects are beneficial, some others are not. In some circumstances not beneficial, but actually they live there. We share with them. They are our neighbors. So we need to understand more than destroy them. Understand them. Birds, sometimes cats. My neighbor's cat. Uh, Wild animals. We live in very close to a reservoir here, so we have sometimes snakes and sometimes beautiful birds that I even seen before. Uh, how to say that? Some kind of raccoons living somewhere here. Uh, so we live with other animals. We share with other animals, and the other kingdom that we are related is the mineral kingdom. You know, when I went to the university, one of the main subjects I enjoyed to study and to learn was, I don't know if in English it's the same, the soil science, edaphology, the subject to understand the dynamics and complexity of soil. The soil is very complex. It's full of life, full of insects, full of bacteria, full of fungus, full of roots. There are very complex dynamics inside the soil. It's beautiful, and it's obviously related to the idea of the unconscious in psychoanalysis, or in the Anden tradition, Pacha, the inside world, the inner world. We are connected with the elements, obviously, earth, but water, as we water the plants, one of the things I must enjoy is to water the plants in the afternoon. It's like the plants are saying, thank you, thank you. Just uh, like receiving the water with the leaves opened. It's so good to perceive water as nourishment, water as cleansing, water as making fluid the relationship between beings in the garden. Obviously, the fire is present through the sun, the heat, the warmth, and for instance, the fire of compost. The compost brings some kind of fire that transform all what we don't even want, waste, transforming it into some kind of new mysterious magic that allows our plants to thrive. That's a so powerful metaphor, to bring waste into a magic. And obviously air, the breeze, the clouds, the skies, the colorful skies. One of the most beautiful experience after a work in a garden, you just sit down in the sunset and look into the shadows grow in between the the plants and the trees, and everything is for an instance getting into some kind of dance. Gardening, it's a symbol in itself, like planting, like putting seeds into the ground, into the soil, like putting all our dreams or expectations or potential into the right moment and the right place. Even pruning is a very important metaphor in our relationships, in our life, even in some aspects of ourselves. Nourishment and the garden, it's an opportunity to bring you back to connect with others, not just human beings, but as well human beings. I say that when I was in England, I was a foreigner. I didn't speak very good English. Actually, I'm not speaking very good English right now, but I'm trying. Uh, when I was there, I met very gentle people, beautiful people that make made me feel home in the allotments. Uh, and I'm very grateful for that relationship with other people. But you're not just relating with other people, you relate with plants, with insects, with the sky, with the cycles. I mean, the moon has so much importance in the work in the garden. If you don't know where is the moon in its cycle, you are missing a very strong force for planting, for pruning, from chopping wood. The moon rules some of the activities in the garden, as well as the sun. Obviously, when the sun is in the summer or with the sun is in the winter, you have possibilities, different kind of possibilities. So all those cycles are brought by the single, simple, humble, and beautiful work in the garden. Actually, the garden is a possibility of nourish your sense of beauty, of your sense of appreciation. I always say to my partner Francisca that we have a lot of fruit plants here, fruit trees. Actually, I have in just here a cashew nut tree, a banana tree, and I have soursop plant, soursop tree. It has a beautiful and delicious fruit, and they are about to be ready for harvesting. And I walk every day around, and I see them, and I just feel it. I know that the plant is nourishing itself with my look, with my appreciation, and that gives you a very important clue for your life. You have to nourish your relationship, not just with trees, especially with people, through appreciation, to admiration. My admiration for this tree to give this beautiful and precious fruit. I know that nourish it allows the fruit to become more beautiful, more sweet, bigger. The same thing with any kind of relationship. We learn how to love in our garden. Finally, I think that having an experience in our garden could re-signify some aspects of our life that we can take a lot of time trying to find answers and not finding them. Just going to the land, touching the soil, smelling the flowers, looking after, being guardians of a garden. You know that there's a beautiful saying in China that I'm going to try to translate it just now. Uh, it says, "Who is cultivated? Is it the garden that is cultivated by the gardener, or is the gardener cultivated by the gardener? Who is cultivating? Maybe both." Uh, and there's another saying, beautiful, that the best fertilizer of a garden is the footstep of the gardener. The best fertilizer of the garden is the footstep. Just walking and admiring and being there, just playing there. The garden feel it. The garden receive it, perceive it, and answer. I completely know that the plants are responsive to our admiration, appreciation, and worries. Uh, I hope these words invites you to or push you to go and have a in your balcony some plants and some pots, or just come out and dig out some bit of your your garden and bring some new plants, or go out and find some allotments if you live in England or maybe in other places. I know that in Germany there are some. Uh, just find that experience and make it uh, part of your life. It's very important. It's very important. If you want to, if you perceive that humanity needs to recover a deeper dialogue with landscape, with nature, go for something real, for something meaningful, which is gardening. Gardening is something more than more than just uh, looking after some flower plants. It's a dance. It's a beautiful game. Well, I appreciate your presence here. I would like to invite you. I have two invitations. One of them is for our celebration of a ritual celebration of the ending of the year, which will happen. I'm gonna bring recover the link here. We're gonna make this event at the end of the month, the 21st and 22nd of December. I'm sending in the chat the link. Yeah. We're gonna have 2 days online to understand and make a shared communal, global offering to end the cycle. This is very important. I mean, sometimes in our societies we don't understand, and even sometimes we are coming away from ending cycles, but ending a cycle is essential to give space to create the emptiness to allow the new get in. So we have to end the cycle. So this ritual is gonna bring us into a ritual ceremony. We're gonna share it in these 2 days to end the cycle and uh, be grateful for everything that happens and be very clear on what we need and expect from next year. This is not just something or like conceptual. We need to be clear on what we need, and for that, we need to have some kind of contemplative time. So that's why the 21st and 22nd we will have this beautiful opportunity to share together this new opportunity of bring the energy of change, of transformation. And the second invitation is for the 4th of January. The 4th of January, we're gonna have the first class, open class for the new edition of the course Emotional Gardening, which is an 8 week um, experimental online course to get into the emotions and explore them in the perspective of in the metaphor and the poetics of the garden. We're gonna bring the Andean way vision and compare it with the psychoanalysis, with Taoism, with different visions to get into with psychotherapy as well, to bring some clarity on our affective life and bring some new ideas on how to deal with them. I think this is very important for any person who will want to become a healer or just want to understand the essence of being human beings. This is very important. I realized it a few years ago when I started to look into different ways of healing, and I want to share with you all that experience. So it will be the 4th of January. We will send all this information through the WhatsApp groups and the email uh, list. So you'll have all the invitation, the link for the Zoom for the first day of this new course. So I hope you felt the impulse to come out and to put some dirt into your nails, to find new seeds, to ask for plants to your neighbors, to play with the planting and eating your own food and finding the way to grow flowers to give away to people. There's so much in the poetics of the garden to bring new possibilities to our life that I just don't have more words to push you out. So I thank you for uh, your your gentle listening, and I hope you find the way up to the garden. Oh, thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Sabine, so much. A pleasure to see you there. Thank you. This was so inspiring in so many levels. Much, much love. Irene, sure. Thank you, my dears. And I hope to see you maybe next Wednesday as we have our weekly practice of Kanchari and the yoga, and the 21st and 22nd of December and the 4th of January. Well, many possibilities to meet. So, thank you very much and see you next time. Bye bye.